The day I confirmed my pregnancy, I saw my husband Ethan, who had just texted that he loved me, carefully helping a heavily pregnant woman. The woman, wearing a trendy luxury brand bracelet on her wrist, was acting coquettish as she clung to his arm. "Honey, I think the baby just kicked." Ethan bent down, gently stroking her belly, his voice full of doting affection. "Sweetheart, be a good baby in mommy's tummy." Witnessing it all, I deleted the message I was typing, opened my phone camera, and captured the scene. I turned around and booked an abortion procedure with the doctor. "Mrs. Evelyn, are you sure you don't want this baby?" the doctor asked again, adjusting her glasses. "I am. And I have a name. It's Evelyn. Please call me Ms. Evelyn." "All right, Ms. Evelyn. The abortion procedure is scheduled for the afternoon of the 30th. The doctor wrote out the papers and handed them to me. I took the papers and left the hospital. Back home, Maria was already preparing ingredients for dinner. Today was supposed to be Ethan's and my wedding anniversary, and the baby in my belly was my surprise for him. "Mrs. Evelyn, you're back. Tonight's dishes are all prepared just as you requested." I looked at the ingredients Maria had prepared. All were mild and delicious dishes. Ethan disliked spicy food, so these were all his favorites. But I myself love spicy food. To accommodate Ethan, I hadn't had anything spicy in a long time. That's fine. Add some chili. Didn't you say Ethan couldn't eat spicy food? Yes, I had told Maria long ago that Ethan couldn't eat spicy food, so none of the dishes could be spicy. Make more spicy dishes today. I'm in the mood for them. All right, Mrs. Evelyn. Maria didn't ask many questions. As long as her boss enjoyed it, she would make it happen. Sitting on the living room sofa, I texted my best friend Mia, asking her to contact a private investigator to look into Ethan and the woman in the photos. After cursed Ethan with a string of expletive. Yes, she assured me to leave everything to her. The woman I saw today looked to be 4 or 5 months pregnant. This made me realize that Ethan had started going on frequent business trips about 6 months ago, which meant he and that woman had been together for at least half a year. I felt chilled to the bone. Ethan and I had been high school sweethearts, and for 3 years of marriage, our relationship had always been wonderful. In fact, over the past 6 months, Ethan had been even more attentive to me. It turned out it was only because he was seeing someone else and felt guilty. Only I still believed it was because he loved me. Ethan came home on time, bringing gifts and flowers for me. The flowers were pink roses, my favorite. I had told him that before. So when he proposed, he ordered 99 pink roses for me. And on every anniversary since, he never forgot to send me a bouquet of pink roses. "Evelyn, my dearest wife, did you miss me?" Ethan stepped forward and hugged me, placing the flowers and gifts in front of me. Everything was just as it used to be. The first thing he did after work was hug me. He used to say that work was exhausting, but seeing me waiting for him at home after work and being able to hold me recharged him, enabling him to continue working hard for his beloved wife. I thought, even if it was just for this baby, I should give him one more chance. Maria came to say dinner was ready. Ethan led me to the dining table and thoughtfully pulled out a chair for me. He didn't notice that half the dishes on the table were spicy. He simply picked out the non-spicy ones and placed them in my bowl. "Ethan, I was about to say something when Ethan's phone rang beside him. Ethan glanced at his phone, his expression unchanged, then hung up. "Evelyn, you go ahead and eat. I'm just going to the restroom." I noticed he didn't take his phone with him when he left. Once he was in the restroom, I got up and walked to the door. I heard voices from inside, confirming my suspicion that he always had 2 phones. One had no password, so I could open it any time. The other, he carried with him everywhere. At first, Ethan's voice was very low. Then, I didn't know what the person on the other end said, but Ethan replied, "I'll be right there." My heart sank. The sound of flushing came from the restroom. By the time Ethan emerged, I was already back at the dining table. He only had time to say, "Wife, something urgent came up at Hayes. I have to go. You eat first, don't wait for me. I left your gift here, and I'll be back as soon as I can." With that, he grabbed his phone and jacket and rushed out. I put down my utensils. Mia texted that the private investigator was already following Ethan and had sent me the investigator's contact information. After adding him as a contact, I picked up the gift Ethan had left beside me and unwrapped it. It was the exact same bracelet the other woman had been wearing. This made my stomach churn with nausea. Ugh. I threw all the things he had given me into the trash can. The flowers, the bracelet, everything made me feel sick. My phone chimed again. I opened it to see a message from the private investigator. saying Ethan had parked his car in a private parking spot in an upscale residential area. These single-family homes offered excellent privacy, perfect for keeping a mistress. In the photos, I could see the man anxiously opening the door, and as soon as it opened, a woman threw her arms around him. At first, they talked, and then they eagerly embraced and kissed intensely. Even from the photos, it was clear how passionately and intensely they were kissing. My stomach churned, and I started dry heaving reflexively, yet I masochistically scrolled through all the photos. I dumped the food from the table into the same trash can where I'd thrown the gifts and flowers. Seeing the flowers and bracelets soaked in soup felt like seeing my own filthy marriage and ridiculous love. Today was the 27th. I had 2.5 days to erase all traces of my life from this house. But I was too tired today. All I wanted was a good night's sleep. I didn't want to sleep in the master bedroom at all, so I opted for the guest room. But I couldn't sleep a wink. My mind masochistically replayed my past with Ethan, and I tossed and turned all night. The villa was empty. Ethan didn't come back all night. My phone received another message, one from Ethan. He said there was an issue with the project, so he had to go on an impromptu business trip for about 4 days, and would be back later to pack. When returned, his expression was normal. He saw me and tried to hug me, but I dodged him. He didn't seem to mind, just saying, "Wait for me to come back, sweetie." He didn't notice the coldness in my expression, nor did he see the trash can not far away, where the flowers he bought yesterday lay. 20 minutes later, Ethan came downstairs with his suitcase. He said goodbye to me and left in a hurry. But then I received photos of him and that woman appearing together at the airport. My phone suddenly received a friend request. The profile picture showed a left hand petting a cute kitten. On the ring finger of the hand in the avatar was a ring I recognized all too well. I accepted the request. The sender didn't say anything, but sent a photo, a pair of hands massaging her calves. The left hand in that photo also wore the exact same ring. The person on the other end was eager to show off. "I know yesterday was your 3-year wedding anniversary." I told him my leg cramped, and I accidentally fell, so he rushed right over. I didn't reply, exited the chat interface, and opened the private investigators chat. Find out all the specific information about the woman in the photos, and how she met the man in the photos. Then I sent him 10,000 via Venmo, as payment for his efforts. The recipient confirmed the payment and replied, "Got it. I'll make sure to get all the details for you." Then, I texted Maria, simply telling her to take 3 days off and return on the afternoon of the 4th day. After that, I started organizing my belongings in the house. I took the clothes I could, and donated everything I couldn't. As for the jewelry and bags, except for the ones I bought myself, I contacted people to sell everything Ethan had ever bought me. I didn't ask anyone for help. I packed everything myself, little by little. When I got tired, I'd sit down and rest, then resume packing once I felt better. I wanted to personally witness my belongings in this house disappear, bit by bit. My phone buzzed periodically with photos and provocative messages from Tiffany. "We've arrived in Miami." The accompanying photo showed the man's back as he pushed a suitcase ahead of him. He has a really great body, and his abs feel amazing. The accompanying photo showed the man kneeling on one knee, helping her put on strappy sandals. I didn't reply to any of them, I just took screenshots and saved the photos. By the end of the first day, I had mostly dealt with the clothes. As for the bags and jewelry, an appraiser would come to collect them tomorrow. The next day, the appraiser arrived promptly, and I presented the jewelry and designer bags I intended to sell. While the appraiser was examining the items, Margaret, my mother-in-law, opened the villa door, carrying a thermos. Seeing the people, a puzzled look crossed her face. "Evelyn, who are they?" "Mom, I'm planning to sell some things I don't use anymore. They're appraisers. By the way, what brings you here?" I wasn't ready to let Margaret know about what was happening between Ethan and me. Henry and Margaret had treated me almost like their own daughter after I married into the family. Even when I hadn't gotten pregnant, they never pressed me, only ever telling me to relax. I was very grateful to them, so I planned to explain everything to them properly once my situation with Ethan was resolved. "Oh, I see. If you don't use them, selling them is fine. Let buy you new ones. Us women, we can never have too many bags, can we?" Margaret patted my hand. Hearing me ask her, she picked up the thermos she was holding. "Oh, that's right, I came to bring you some chicken soup. I specifically had the kitchen prepare it. Mom, don't bother so much next time. Just tell me, and I'll come over." "What bother? Sending soup to my daughter-in-law is no trouble at all," Margaret said, feigning annoyance. Mrs. Margaret, you treat your daughter-in-law as well as your own flesh and blood, the appraiser, who was examining the designer bags, chimed in playfully from behind. "My is very good to me too," Margaret said, beaming happily at the compliment. "Evelyn, since you're busy, I won't bother you. Remember to drink the soup." "Okay, Mom. Tell the driver to go slowly on the way back." I walked Margaret to the door, reminding her, "Don't see me off. Go back to your work." After seeing Margaret into the car, I returned to the villa. There were quite a lot of items, and it took the appraiser an entire afternoon to finish. Altogether, everything sold for nearly 10 million. After seeing him off, I started packing my belongings. I'd already sorted some in the morning, and with tomorrow morning's efforts, everything should be packed. I opened my phone. There were many messages. I replied to Mia first, asking her to accompany me to the hospital tomorrow afternoon. Then I opened the private investigator's message. He had first sent me some information about the woman. The woman's name was Tiffany. She had graduated from a decent university, and her previous workplace was Ethan's company, Hayes. She had resigned 4 months ago. It seemed she had first gotten involved with him at the company, then got pregnant, and that's why she resigned. Finally, I opened Tiffany's message and saved everything she had sent me. As for Ethan's update message, I couldn't even be bothered to open it. On the third day, I woke up early. After packing everything I hadn't finished the day before, I started throwing things away. All the decorative items and small ornaments in the house, anything I had bought, or that Ethan and I had bought together, were thrown into trash bags. After filling a large trash bag, I looked at the half-empty house, and felt my heart was also half-empty. But, Ethan, I had given you a chance. I contacted a moving company, and finally, before noon, all my belongings were gone. Even that large trash bag, I had the movers throw it away for me. All those memories, I threw them away too. At 2 in the afternoon, Mia accompanied me to the hospital. Before entering the operating room, I replied to Tiffany's message for the first time. "My discarded trash, you picked it up. Congratulations, garbage dump." After replying, I walked into the operating room without looking back. I lay on the operating table, the overhead surgical lights glaringly bright, and gradually lost consciousness. When I woke up, Mia was sitting beside me, eyes red, holding my hand. Seeing me awake, she wiped away a tear. "Evelyn, you're awake. How are you feeling? Do you want some water? Anything to eat? Why are you crying? You should be happy." "I'm about to embrace a new life," I said, curving my lips in an attempt to comfort her. "Alright, still got the energy to joke, so I guess it's not too serious. What do you plan to do next?" Mia asked, letting out a sigh of relief when she saw I was okay. "I'm getting a divorce," I stated firmly. "Good, I support you. But your top priority right now is to recover. The doctor said you need at least 2 weeks of rest, and strict bed rest for the first 3 days." After being discharged from the hospital, Mia accompanied me back to the apartment I had bought before my marriage. This apartment was my own, and even Ethan didn't know about it. Now, I just had to wait for Ethan to return tomorrow and see what his reaction would be to the things I had delivered at Ely left behind. But I still needed to explain things properly to my parents. I took out my phone and dialed my mother's number. Her gentle voice came through the receiver, and the tears I had been holding back for days burst forth before I could even speak. On the other end, I heard my parents' anxious voices. I tried to compose myself and told them the whole story, including the abortion procedure I had today. They were a bit upset because I hadn't told them beforehand. They supported me in everything else and promised they wouldn't have an ounce of sympathy for Ethan. With my parents handled, a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. Mia took my phone away, insisting that I rest. I slept very soundly. When I woke up the next day, my complexion looked much better. I hadn't replied to Ethan for days. He hadn't asked why I hadn't responded, and there hadn't been a single call. His latest message said his flight would land around noon, so he would probably arrive home around 1 in the afternoon, which was also when Maria would come to clean. When returned home, he froze at the sight of the empty house, a faint unease settling in his heart. Maria heard the commotion and came out of the kitchen. "Ethan, it looks like Mrs. Evelyn accidentally threw some things away in this trash can." Ethan looked down into the trash can. The food inside was already moldy, and a bouquet of withered flowers was soaked in moldy soup. The wrapping of the flowers looked familiar. There was also an opened gift box, surrounded by rotten food, and an expensive bracelet. That bracelet, he had given to 2 women at the same time. Thinking of the empty house he had entered, his heart began to pound. He frantically rushed upstairs to search. He opened the walk-in closet door. More than half of it was empty, only his clothes remained. Even an entire wall of bags was gone. Dazed and distraught, he went downstairs. He didn't even dare to take out his phone to ask if I already knew something. Just then, his phone vibrated. He took out his phone. He didn't even have the courage to tap on the pinned chat. He saw the message I had sent. Let's get a divorce. He immediately dialed my number, but I didn't answer. I didn't even look at the messages he sent me. I just forwarded all the photos and chat logs I'd saved from Tiffany to him. Then I blocked him on all platforms. Divorce was inevitable, but for these 2 weeks, I didn't want to be harassed by Ethan. Mia brought over a ton of things every day, and she was also helping me organize the items the moving company had brought in, bit by bit. I didn't want her to be so tired, but she told me, "Don't worry, I'll bring some extra help tomorrow." When she arrived today, she really did have a handsome young man trailing behind her. When he saw me, he dutifully said, "Hello, Evelyn." Was this a male model Mia hired, for herself or for me? I looked at her suspiciously. She caught my gaze and immediately understood what I was thinking. She quickly explained, "This is my cousin Liam. He was studying abroad and just graduated and came back. My uncle wanted him to intern at the family company, but he refused, so he pawned him off on me." Seeing evasive eyes, a bold guess formed in my mind. "Don't tell me, he's the private investigator you found." "Oh, Evelyn, you're a detective," Mia exclaimed, praising me with an exaggerated expression. All right, I messed up. You told me so suddenly, I couldn't find anyone else on such short notice. I'm not blaming you. After all, your cousin did a great job with the task. Plus, a handsome guy is a treat for the eyes." "Exactly. My cousin is male model material, after all." Mia, still goofing around, handed me some nourishing supplements and told me to sit aside, while she directed Liam to start organizing things. For several days in a row, Mia brought Liam over to help me sort through things. Seeing a handsome guy every day certainly brightened my mood. Until my mother, Susan, CA, led me. She told me that Ethan, unable to reach me, had gone to my parents' house. But they refused to see him, so Ethan knelt outside our front door. My father, Richard, simply declared that Ethan could kneel all he wanted, but when it came to me, he wouldn't forgive Ethan or interfere with my decision. Ethan knelt for 3 days straight. Finally, Margaret somehow found out and brought Tiffany over. Tiffany, with her swollen belly, knelt before Ethan, begging him to come back. Ethan couldn't resist her pleas and finally left my parents' house. My father, Richard, seeing Ethan's mistress with such a large belly, and thinking of my own unborn child, became so enraged his blood pressure soared. My mother, Susan, was so angry she cursed him as an animal. Seeing how much older my parents looked after these past few days, despite only having rested for a week myself, I decided to end this farce sooner rather than later. I decided to go back to my parents' house first. Just as I arrived home, a figure darted out from somewhere and blocked my path. It was Ethan. He looked quite haggard after not seeing him for a few days. He had finally found me and tried to reach out for my hand, but I dodged him. "Don't touch me. You're filthy." Every time I saw him now, I remembered the doting way he had looked at that woman during her prenatal checkup. It was sickening. Ethan looked hurt and pleaded, "Evelyn, no, I didn't. I just wanted to wait for Tiffany to have the baby, then pretend to adopt him, and we could raise him together. I didn't know Tiffany would send you those things." Ethan's words, beyond shocking me, made me feel utterly disgusted. "Ethan, how can you be so disgusting, so vile?" "Yes, Evelyn, I'm disgusting, I'm vile, but I'm begging you, please don't leave me." He said this while kneeling before me, as if he truly couldn't live without me. But not a single ripple stirred within me. I took out my phone, found the photos I had taken at the hospital that day, and showed them to him. In the photos, the man gently stroked the woman's belly with a tender expression, and the woman's face radiated happiness. It was clearly the joy of a couple anticipating a new life. Ethan stared blankly at the photo. That day, he had accompanied Tiffany to her prenatal checkup. "Do you know why I was at the hospital?" I asked with a mocking smile. Then, as Ethan's face grew paler and paler, I continued. "Because I was pregnant. Over a month along." Ethan's face lit up with surprise. "Evelyn, you're pregnant? Really? Then Seeing the hope in his eyes, I cut him off mercilessly. "There is no us. Because I already aborted the baby." "Evelyn, why would you do that?" Ethan murmured. "I gave you a chance. You didn't appreciate it." Hearing my words, he suddenly remembered that day he left, when I was about to say something to him. But he hadn't listened because he was busy calling Tiffany. "I don't believe it, Evelyn. You loved me so much. how could you abort my child? Ethan shook his head, refusing to believe. I knew he would react this way. I took out the abortion papers and threw them at him. The papers floated downwards, and Ethan frantically caught them. After seeing what they said, he couldn't stop trembling. When Margaret arrived and saw their son, Margaret immediately pushed me aside without a word and hugged him, her heart aching. I stumbled, almost falling to the ground. Ethan, what's wrong? Mom, my baby, it's gone. What baby? Tiffany is fine at home. It's Evelyn, and my baby are gone. Ethan clutched his head in agony and sank to the ground. What? Margaret took the papers from Ethan's hand, and she too froze. But she didn't seem to be in as much pain as Ethan. After all, she still had a grandson perfectly safe in another woman's womb. Evelyn, since the baby is gone, why don't you raise Tiffany's baby as your own? Mrs. Margaret, Evelyn is our treasure. Since you already have a new daughter-in-law, you shall divorce quickly, lest your son commit bigamy, my father, Richard, said coldly. My parents hadn't come out while Ethan and I were confronting each other. They trusted me to handle it. It was only when Henry and Margaret appeared that they came out, and the first thing they heard was such a shameless remark. Richard, that's not how you say it. Evelyn couldn't bear a son in 3 years of marriage. Now has a child, and we can't let our grandson be out there on his own. Henry's words implied that I couldn't get pregnant, so Ethan had no choice but to find another woman to bear a child. Mr. Henry, the children have decided to divorce, so let's stop with the in-laws. Evelyn, let's go home. We are decent people. Don't stop them from finding a mistress as a daughter-in-law. My mother, Susan, was so furious she spoke without holding back. Mom, I'm not getting a divorce, Ethan retorted, hearing my mother's words. Ethan, I won't help you raise another woman's child, nor will I stay with a man who's been defiled. I will send you the divorce papers. If you refuse to divorce, I will sue you. With that, I followed my parents home, and Ethan was forcefully taken away by Henry and Margaret. I also instructed my lawyer to send the divorce papers to Ethan's home. To ensure he received them, I had the lawyer send copies to Hayes and his parents as well. Everything had been going smoothly, but then Tiffany caused more trouble. After receiving the divorce papers, Ethan blamed everything on Tiffany. He forcefully dragged Tiffany to the hospital, but Tiffany's baby was almost 5 months along, and the fetus was developing normally. The hospital stated they couldn't terminate the pregnancy without medical indication. Ethan went wild upon hearing this. He hit the doctor, and in the scuffle, he pushed Tiffany. Her belly hit the corner of a table, and she lost the baby. The hospital called the police, and Ethan was now being held at the police station. Mia told me all this. The incident was now a huge scandal, with someone even recording a video and posting it online. Ethan wasn't detained for long. He was released because Tiffany provided a statement of forgiveness. Tiffany had acted as an immoral mistress, and now she was getting what she deserved. I only regretted that Ethan hadn't faced substantial punishment. Tiffany, don't be so blindly in love. This incident reminded me that I had been so focused on getting back at the jerk that I'd forgotten about the mistress. As the lawful wife, I had the right to reclaim the money Ethan had spent on his mistress during our marriage. I instructed my lawyer to sue Tiffany. After receiving the court summons, Tiffany showed up at my parents' house, causing a scene. My parents wouldn't let me go out to see her. They called security to try and remove her, but Tiffany refused to leave, throwing herself to the ground, screaming and wailing. She was shouting insults. Evelyn, how dare you sue me? You couldn't bear a son yourself, and now you want to harm mine. You bitch. You shameless old hag. How can that woman say such things? My mother, Susan, was livid. After calming her down, I walked out of the villa. When saw me, her words immediately caught in her throat. She had just lost her baby, hadn't rested properly, and was sitting on the ground shouting. At that moment, her face was ashen, her hair disheveled, and she looked like a madwoman. As for me, I had rested very well these past few days. My mother, Susan, had Maria stew nourishing supplements for me 3 times a day, so now my complexion was rosy, my skin fair and glowing. I was in excellent condition. At this moment, I was looking down at her from above. No words were needed, the difference between us was immediately apparent. This was the scene Margaret and Ethan walked into. Margaret, her heart aching, tried to help Tiffany up, but Tiffany slapped her hand away and yelled at me. Evelyn, you must be so happy now, aren't you? My baby is gone. And the man I love is going crazy because of you. Tiffany gave a self-mocking laugh. I didn't answer her, and she continued. That day, after he came back from your house, he frantically questioned me. asking why I sent you those messages, and he hit me. If his parents hadn't stopped him, he would have choked me to death. He said it was all my fault, that I made you leave him. After receiving your divorce papers, he forcibly dragged me to the hospital, wanting me to have an abortion. If the hospital hadn't refused, he really would have forced me into surgery. But my baby still couldn't be saved. Tell me, if I had just quietly given birth to the baby and not provoked you, would I have had a chance to stay by his side? All of this, everything, is because of you. Hearing these words, I only found them laughable. First of all, before you fell for this man, didn't you know he already had a wife? Shamelessly seducing another woman's husband, that's your own depravity. Secondly, weren't those photos and chat logs you sent just you, emboldened by your pregnancy and favored status, trying to provoke me? But even if you hadn't come to find me, I saw you two despicable people with my own eyes on the day of your prenatal checkup. I still would have filed for divorce. Of course, I have you to thank. Thank you for personally delivering such powerful evidence. Finally, your baby is gone because of Ethan, and you even gave a statement of forgiveness to the very person who caused your baby's death. Evelyn, I'm sorry. Ethan lowered his head guiltily, apologizing to me once more. I can agree to divorce you, but I hope you can give me another chance to win you back. Margaret, hearing her son's pathetic plea, was heartbroken and started spewing vicious words at me. You couldn't bear a son yourself, and now you want to stop us from having a grandson? I'm telling you, Tiffany, Mom. Stop talking. Ethan, looking horrified, clamped his hand over Margaret's mouth to prevent her from continuing. What does that mean? What about Tiffany? Hearing's words, I already had a vague suspicion. Mrs. Margaret means that Ms. Tiffany was personally chosen by the Hayes couple and sent to their son's bed. I looked at the newcomer in shock. Liam walked over, holding a document, and finished Margaret's sentence. I took the document, but just as I was about to open it, Mia put her hand on mine. Evelyn, do you really want to see this? Mia, there's nothing left that I can't handle. I opened the document anyway. It detailed how Henry and Margaret had chosen Tiffany and how they had sent her to their married son's bed. My suspicion was indeed correct. How could this family be so repulsive? Henry and Margaret's kindness towards me had all been an act. No, that's not it, Evelyn, I was drugged. I honestly didn't know. I thought it was you, Ethan explained frantically. The first time was drugging? What about after that? Were you drugged every time you were forced to sleep with Tiffany? Drugged until she got pregnant? Ethan, you just wanted her body, a momentary thrill. Don't play the victim. Your family truly are masters of garbage collection. This family had gone too far, so I saw no need to hold my tongue anymore. How dare you curse us? You couldn't bear a son in 3 years, yet we were still so good to you. How can you be so heartless? If you, this jinx, couldn't give us a child, then it's only natural for us to find someone else to give us a grandson, isn't it? Now my grandson is gone, and it's all your fault, you worthless piece of trash. Margaret pointed at me, her insults growing harsher with each word. Mrs. Margaret, I know you're blunt, but there's no need to spew such garbage. I said, pinching my nose in disgust. Ugh, what a stench. Stop barking. I've always been afraid of dogs, Mia said, pretending to be scared as she leaned against me. I immediately played along, putting my arm around her. You. Margaret was so enraged she could barely speak. Evelyn, I think our problem is that we treat them too much like humans, Liam added, joining in from the side. Margaret fainted outright from anger. Ethan quickly caught her, then looked at me with a complicated expression. Evelyn, even if we were wrong, you shouldn't have said such harsh things. Mom was always good to you. You got bitten by a mad dog, and you're still expected to be grateful to it? No wonder you could do such a twisted thing, Liam said, nodding knowingly. His expression made me laugh, then I turned a cold gaze to Ethan. Spare me your guilt-tripping and moral blackmail. I'm not falling for it. Sign the divorce papers quickly so we can finalize this. With that, I linked arms with Mia and, taking Liam with us, returned home. Maria came to open the door, then slammed it shut again. She even brought out pomelo leaves, saying it was a ritual to ward off bad luck for us. What happened at my parents' door was still filmed by someone, but we didn't appear in the video, only Margaret's explosive rant. This incident caused quite a stir online, leading to Hayes stock plummeting. Ethan was probably swamped and overwhelmed, with no time to bother me anymore. After signed the divorce papers, I quickly went with him to get the divorce certificate. I looked at the divorce certificate and smiled with relief. As I was leaving, Ethan called out to me. Evelyn, can we still? Evelyn, what are you doing? Come on, let's go celebrate. Liam pulled the car up to City Hall, and Mia called out to me from the car a short distance away. "Coming," I said, laughing as I ran towards them. Now, I was ready to embrace my new life. In the end, Ethan still paid Tiffany's legal fees for her. I heard that she later relentlessly pursued Ethan, unwilling to give up. I never paid attention to the Hayes family affairs again, but I didn't expect to still receive a call from Margaret. She pleaded with me on the phone to visit Ethan at the hospital. I heard he'd gotten a stomach ulcer from eating too much spicy food and had been admitted. I agreed. I took my new romantic interest to the hospital. My romantic interest was Liam. Mia told me that ever since he met me, Liam had been working extra hard to find evidence, just to make me give up on the Hayes family sooner. At the hospital, I found Ethan's hospital room, as Margaret had instructed. When we went in, Tiffany was taking care of him. Seeing me, Ethan excitedly sat up in bed. "Evelyn, you came to see me." Tiffany quickly supported him, glaring at me with hostile eyes. Ethan pushed her away and tearfully confessed to me, "I'm sorry, Evelyn. How could I have forgotten that you love spicy food? Maria said you specifically told her not to make spicy dishes, and I never even noticed. I'm so sorry. I don't need your apologies, because you're a thing of the past." I linked my arm through the man beside me. "I'm here today to tell you that I have a boyfriend now. You and your mistress can have a good life together." After saying that, Liam and I left the hospital room, leaving Ethan to cry and plead for us to stay behind us. I never looked back. "Evelyn, you just admitted I'm your boyfriend. It was for the plot. As for you, you're still under review." I've never lacked the courage to love, but with Ethan's lesson, I think I'll be much more cautious. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.